Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you'd like to attend our services live, please visit our website awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu. Then, How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. I always get surprised when the spotlight comes on and it's all me. And I'm like, where'd everybody go? I don't really want to look at all me. That's good. All right. Yes. Happy Sunday and happy Father's Day to all the fathers of humans. And in our house, it's fathers of fur babies. He is quite the dad to those fur babies for sure. So happy Father's Day to Jimbo as well. So glad to be here. Dear Father, we thank you. We thank you for this time together. Thank you for this time to center on what our true desire is and what we really want, which is the awareness of your presence in and around us and through us. May we join together to hear your message. May I be a channel of that message. May all who need to hear something hear what they need. And may I share only what you would have me share, beyond the confusion, beyond who I think I am. In love, amen. All righty. All right, we are going to do some reading. Today's reading is chapter 13, Matthew 13 from NTI. And my friend Glenda is going to do reading for us. I appreciate it, Glenda. Thank you so much. And she will read, if there is a Bible icon, she's going to go to the Bible and read that section too. So it's all yours, Glenda. Again, thank you so much.
Good morning. I'll start with the New Testament. The parable of the sower. On the same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the sea, and great multitudes were gathered together to him, so that he got into the boat and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. When he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, then he spoke many things to them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. Some fell on stony places where they did not have much earth, and they immediately sprang up because they had no depth of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up and choked them. But others fell on good ground and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. NTI. Your choice is the key to this scripture. All that you do by your choice. To deny this is to deny the essence of who you are. And yet many deny themselves and believe they are victims of their own distractions. I say to you, listen to me. No one can keep you from yourself but yourself. Lay yourself aside that you may come home to me. My words are clear to those who choose to understand them. For when you lay yourself aside and ask to receive understanding, it is given you. But understanding can only be given if you choose to lay yourself aside. For if you do not make this choice, it is because you believe you know, and so you cannot be taught. Be thankful that my words are clear to you, for you have asked, and it is given. This is the symbol of your Father's love on earth. Freely he extends himself to you. Blessed are you who have chosen to receive. Not everyone you meet will be ready to make the choice that you have made. Many will not, but you must love them. For love is the good soil you have chosen, and not to love is not to have made the choice. Love your brothers, give them as they ask, and do not judge. Think no evil thoughts about them. Do not worry about their choices. It is your choice you must guard. Make sure that you choose the good soil and that you do not let yourself slip onto the path between the rocks among the thorns. The choice you make will seem to be made many times in complete sincerity and truth of heart, and then you will seem to slip and forget the choice you have made. Do not let this distress you. Simply make the choice again. In any moment, when you notice that evil thoughts and thoughts of separateness have crept into your mind, give them up in that moment. It is moment to moment in which the harvest occurs. And so it is in the moment that you remember that you must also make the choice. New Testament, the parable of the mustard seed. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of air come and nest in its branches. NTI. Do not worry that you do not tend to your choice enough. For if you tend to your choice every time you remember, that's enough. For in the tending of your choice, the tending itself will extend until you are tending to your choice in every moment as you desire. For the tending is the mustard seed. Ask me to rain upon your seed and tend whenever you remember. Remember, I will lead you to remember more. New Testament, parable of the leaven. Another parable he spoke to them. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal until it was all leavened. NTI. It is through your choice, but not through your effort, that the kingdom of heaven is given. For the kingdom of heaven must be a gift given by the Father to you. Choose to be ready to receive this gift, to receive the gift. In this way, it is like yeast. The yeast represents the choice, but the rising of the dough is the gift born of that choice. What I tell you now is truth of your salvation. It is only through this truth that you shall be saved. The Son of God is an extension of his Father, but this he has forgotten. That he has forgotten does not change what is true. When you see yourself in this forgotten state and you believe that you are guilty and you live in a fearful world, it is then that you suffer, and yet you believe these thoughts. And in believing these thoughts, you suffer. And in believing these thoughts, you believe the evidence of these thoughts, and you suffer more. This is why I'm here. I am here to bring clarity, to replace confusion, love to replace fear. But you must know that your thoughts are born of fear, and fear is the way of the world. To know my gift, you must put down your thoughts of fear and turn away from its evidence. Through your consistent choice, I will give you my gift, for I cannot give against your choice. So I cannot give the gift of love if it is fear that you choose. Listen to me now. You must trust me above all that you think and hear and see. You must put me above yourself and your world. And you do this by your choice, by selecting the thoughts you will believe and the thoughts you will let go. Thoughts of love and thoughts of fear are in your mind now. Where will you choose to put your faith? This is what I'm telling you. If you seek confusion and fear, you will find it, for the world breeds confusion and fear. But if it is truth and clarity you seek, I offer it to you now. Let go of everything that is not the gift I offer, accept only my gift. In this way, the treasure of heaven is yours. The sorting of thoughts is the work that must be done. This is the moment-to-moment choice you must make. Where will you put your faith? If you ask me to help you make a choice, I will help. I will lead you along the path and point your choices out to you. Let me help. Depend on me. Put yourself in my hands, and I will tell you where to look. There is nothing that is to remain hidden in your mind. As the work of sorting is done, do not be afraid. Do not hide thoughts from the work. All thoughts must be brought out from the corners of your mind into my light, and there they shall be judged. I will judge your thoughts for you, but you must make the choice. It is yourself that I ask you to lay aside, and it is on this choice that your Father waits to give you his gift. You know yourself and your world as your home, and although you are afraid, you have become comfortable there. I ask you to give up your home and all you know, that I may give you your true self and true home. I offer more comfort within a world of fear. I offer the peace and knowing of God. It is your choice, but I will help you with your choice if you choose to walk with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenda. Appreciate it. So much in there. I kind of started thinking about this my week in, I'm doing 500 days. And my last week had this choice and this reading and all this focus on choice. And I kept thinking about, one of the things I wrote down as I was reading. I asked myself if I had made this choice, one of these choices that it was asking of me. Oh, and when it talked about not everyone you meet will be ready to make the choice that you have made. Many will not, but you must love them, for love is the good soil you have chosen. And not to love is not to have made the choice. And so I started asking myself, have I made this choice? Have I made this choice to love? And I think that whatever brings us here to awakening together is ultimately part of, or any path is ultimately part of that choice when we make that decision that we've come up against something in our life that has challenged us, and we have come to the end of our understanding of things. We have come to the end of our ability to sort things out and to manage this life and to understand things. And so we hop on a path. And ultimately, I think that comes from a choice, or it wouldn't have shown up, right? In my life, it started in recovery. And I really believe that being led to 12 steps was the perfect start of my journey. And it was what I needed at that time. And had I not chosen for spirit at that time, I don't think I would have found 12 steps. And so I found it. And then kind of like the faith of the mustard seed, as I spent my time there and I learned more about what it was I was choosing, choosing for spirit versus choosing for the world. And as I learned more about that, and as I saw more of how I do that, how I choose for the world instead of spirit, more understanding and more opportunity to make these choices showed up for me, that I could choose spirit instead of the world. And so I think ultimately my answer to the question was I answered a call at some point in time. I made that choice for love. Now my problem seems to be the moment to moment choice, the moment to moment harvest of that choice. Lots of the things that came up for me as I was thinking about choice was, I want choices to be like they are in the world, right? I want it to be obvious. Like if you go, I don't know if any of you have looked, there's 2 items that make me crazy when I go to the drugstore to choose. One is a foundation color and the other is toothpaste. OMG, there are so many options. And I think the world is like that, right? I mean, there are so many choices. And what happens to me is and if I do this with toothpaste and I do this with foundation, you can imagine I do it with all the choices in the world for me. I worry that I'm not making the right one. And all those thoughts come up. And I know that foundation is not a big thing to worry about. And it's not like I lose sleep, but I do go, I'm going to spend money on this. They won't let me try it on in here. What if it doesn't work? All that kind of stuff. And really what I would like is, the gal to say, this is it, take this home. This is the one that's going to work. Because I don't want to have to deal with the responsibility of it. So I think sometimes I expect my choices for the spiritual path to be the same way. I want it presented to me very obviously and very clear. And like, what is loving? I don't always know what is the loving thing to do when it comes to interactions with people in the world. And what came to me, what I began to understand is that this choice that is talked about all through NTI, Matthew chapter 13, is it's subconscious, right? It's a lot of the challenges that I face is because I have not brought a lot of the stuff to conscious awareness. So I'm not always aware of my judgments of people. I'm not always aware of the fact that I'm not choosing with spirit, that I'm not choosing with God. And the reading started out with, all that you do by your choice. And to deny this is to deny the essence of who you are. And yet many deny themselves and believe they are victims of their own distractions. And I say to you, no one can keep you from yourself but yourself. So part of the choice is always being clear on the fact that I would choose capital S over the little s. And then it says, lay yourself aside that you may come home to me. And so I asked, well, what is laying myself aside? And that's a big task, right? That's not easy. I think that's why we have to do it moment by moment. Laying self aside is laying aside all those opinions that I hold. It is laying aside all the ideas I have about what is right in the world and what is wrong in the world. It's laying all those ideas aside about all the past choices I've made and judging those. What choices I've made on the journey, and were they the right ones or were they the wrong ones? It's letting all that stuff go. It's embracing the current moment. And I think one of the big problems I have is when things start showing up in my life that I, for some reason, want to say I did not choose this. That it talks in here about I am given all the evidence that I want to deny. What happens is I make a choice and then it shows up. But once again, this was unconscious for me. And say it's a choice that comes from the belief of I'm incapable. That's usually the one that's right underneath all that choice in the drugstore, right? I'm incapable of making the right choice. And so I carry that one around with me. It shows up at work, right? The incapable shows up at work. I'm trying to learn new software. At the office, we got a new platform for benefits, and I'm supposed to be learning it. It's brand new to me. I've never used online enrollment before. I'm an HR gal, and we've always done hard copy. People come in for meetings. I educate them about the benefits, and they fill out a piece of paper, and I stack them up and submit them and all this stuff. Now it's all done on this platform. And you can see that technology is a challenge for me. I have displayed that, right? So here it shows up again this morning. I'm incapable of managing this piece of equipment that is supposed to be a centerpiece in my work life. And so I have this belief of being incapable. And so now I'm trying to learn this software at work, and it's not going well. And the gal that's teaching me, I feel every time I'm visiting with her that she is scolding me. And she's, 25 years younger than I am, which is a challenge in itself. And so I'm having a hard time doing that. And then any other, I had to do a training here at the office, and we do evals at the end of our training. And there was 10 people in the class, right? And there was 7 beautiful evals, that I was clear and I was concise and they understood the topics. And but there were 3 evals that had some comments about some stuff that I didn't do, right? And so I don't pay attention to the 7. I pay attention to the 3. And once again, there's evidence one more time that I am incapable of doing this job. And so this moment-to-moment choice that we are to pay attention to is seeing how, when these things come up, that I want to believe that I am, once again, a victim of the choices of others. I'm a victim of the choice of somebody deciding to go with this new platform for benefits. I'm a victim of that. They chose, I didn't have any selection in it. And so now I'm a victim of that. I'm a victim of these 3 people in that class, their perception of me as a trainer. I'm a victim of that. And that I'm a victim of making a bad choice at any given time. And what the reading was saying to me as I was going through that is, that's not true. Those things that you are focused on are just the evidence of your belief, right? Those are just because you have believed that for so long, that is what is coming up to show you, to prove it. And what happens for me is I will go pretty long periods of time without taking the time to investigate if any of that's true, right? I assume, I go through my days with that emotion of I'm incapable of this job. I mean, last week was just so long at work. And I talk about it to everybody over and over. My husband, I laid it all out to him about how I can't do this. And then, my boss about the training, that obviously I'm not cut out to do this. I do all that kind of stuff instead of this choice that we're asked to make is to go below, to go underneath, and to see what is actually there, to see the belief that is running all of that. That's the choice that we make. And so I was able to, just through, the work assigned during 500 days, I was able to kind of narrow it down and find that I'm incapable belief. And so that was a revelation to me. I thought I had seen those things before. I thought that I could manage those things before. And once again, I see that I do not know, right? Let's see. Where did it say something about the reminder that if you're not asking for guidance and help in making your choice, it's because you think you know. Because you think you already have the answers. And that just is not true. So I think that the the ultimate answer to my question about choice. What are we being asked to choose? Yeah, I guess we're just being asked to choose guidance. We're being asked to know that we don't know. We're being asked to pause. We are being asked to let go. We are being asked to do any of the practices to purify so we can have access to more choices, right? Sometimes when I get stressed out, when I get frightened, my vision narrows so much to where I can't see options. And when you're anxious and frightened and you can't see any options, you choose the same things over and over again. And that's what happened to me at work, choosing that same thing over and over again. So doing the work is what allows us to have some other choices at our disposal. So a choice to see the thought that I am incapable, to see the thought that I can't do this job, I can't master this software, and see that as not true. To see that as just a belief that is showing up in my life for me to work through. To be able to, in the moment, say, okay, right now, I'm having a hard time understanding this, and I will, ask for some guidance. And one of the things that was helpful to me when I calmed down after one extremely tough day last week at work, I settled down and did a little bit of this work and was able to see. And the idea, when I left it, and I think I was cooking dinner, the idea came to reach out to this gal who's trying to teach me and just share with her the struggles that you're having, right? And so I was able to pick up the phone the next morning and just say, I feel like we got off on the wrong foot, and I am open to learning what you have to share, but I need to be able to ask questions. And I needed to let her know that I was struggling, and I had never told her that. And so that guidance to be able to pick up the phone and reach out and get some of that communication channel open was very helpful. And I'm looking forward to a different experience this week, which will be nice. So our choice is to choose against the imposter self. And in order to do that, we have to continue to recognize it. And if we don't recognize it, it continues to come around until we get a chance to choose it and to choose to let it go. I do think that there is, in this statement, in the, let's see. About being here. It is yourself, little s, that I have asked you to lay aside. And it is on this choice that your Father waits to give you his gift. You know yourself and your world as your home. And although you are afraid, you have become comfortable there. I ask you to give up your home and all that you know, that I may give you your true self and true home. And I offer more than comfort in a world of fear. I offer the peace of knowing God. It is your choice, but I will help you with your choice if you choose to walk with me. And I have had a couple experiences. I have a hard time describing them, but I think that it really does relate to this idea. And some of at least one of the most powerful spiritual experiences I ever had in my life was shown to me through this power of choice and this laying aside of myself. And I may have shared it before, and please forgive me if I have, but it just keeps coming back to my memory. So I was starting a new job, and this is in my late 20s, and it was sales. And I was terrified of it. And part of the job was to make cold calls. And I mean, literally just picking up a cold phone and calling people and selling your product. And I was absolutely terrified to do this. And I kept trying. And it felt very much like a, square peg, round hole kind of situation. But I kept trying. My boss was my stepmother, so I wanted to please her, right? So one day I was getting ready to set up my little routine, and I really did have to pump myself up, all those sales techniques, right? And listen to those affirmations and, just all that stuff. And so I was getting ready to do that, and this knot in the center of my stomach, it was so heavy and so tight. And I remember walking towards the phone. I had this little office area, and I remember walking towards there, and this idea just crossed my mind that just said, no, no. And no, I'm done doing that. And, I did not make that call, and I knew I was never going to go back to that job. And the lightness that filled me up at that moment was unbelievable. And I went out and sat on my step at this little house I was living in, and I just started giggling, and I just started laughing. And I knew in that moment, I knew the truth. I really do believe I was just given this beautiful revelation. And it was what it took for me to say no and to go sit out on that step and not make that was laying aside a lot of conditioning about pleasing people, mainly family, a lot of conditioning about you can do anything you set your mind to. And just a lot of that stuff. It was like taking off the ego off my head and setting it down next to me and going about doing something else. And something took over. I mean, something literally took over. And it was beautiful. And I was able to maintain that space for a little bit, right? But then at some point in time, I caught on to something else and, bought into it and wasn't able to stay there. But that memory of what that felt like to lay aside myself is what continues to guide me today. And I'm grateful for having had that experience. I get frustrated that I can't make that choice daily, because that joy of knowing truly it was the demonstration for me of I need do nothing. It truly was the experience of here where it says the Son of God is an extension of his Father, but this he has forgotten. That he has forgotten does not change what is true. And I was shown that my entire life up to that point, I thought I was somebody, and I had forgotten who I truly was. And I was able to be shown for a brief moment who I truly was, and that who I truly was needed never to prove themselves through a job, never needed to be validated by somebody else's approval of any kind ever, that my value was established. My worth was established not by anything that I did in the world. And I knew that to be true. And part of the challenge for me of the spiritual journey is having had an experience like that and then not being able to make that choice on a daily basis, to lay that aside. And I think that, it was my late 20s, and I didn't have a lot of information and about what that experience meant. And so I just, I ended up picking up, more beliefs and living by them. And so now I'm, 56, and I have to go back and undo and unpack a whole bunch of other stuff. And that has to be okay, right? I mean, what else am I going to do? That's the work in front of me. So certainly part of my spiritual frustration is, a little bit of knowing the truth and not being able to embody the truth, knowing on an intellectual level, and yet not being able to embody it and feel it and know it on a moment to moment basis. And so it really is nice to have done this today, because it was able to remind me of that choice that I had made prior, and know that that's possible. And at the same time, I can't cling to that, right? I have to deal with what's going on with me and my psyche today. And now it's working against, looking at all these ideas about being incapable at this, with this new technology and all that stuff. And it's all perfect the way it is, the way it's showing up. So, I guess that is probably all I have to say about that right now. Thank you guys it's like the last 10 minutes of homily. I finally allow spirit in and I get some clarity, but that's what it takes for me. So you guys you're my sounding board. So anyway, I'm grateful for y'all. And of course, I love you. And we're going to have one more song that Sina's going to play, because I'm not even touching that anymore today. And it's going to be India Irie. I Am, and I love it. And we'll also post in the chat the link to donate if you choose to donate at this time. We would certainly appreciate it. All right, that's it. Thank you. Love you.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.